Next step in our laboratory is to open project under Labs subfolder. So this is our laboratory exercise project, and under Labs subfolder we have our first lab Visual Studio project, and this is the solution that we'd like to open. So I simply copy this path on my computer and open this solution. Again, it's asking us to make an upgrade to our current version of the compiler, which is okay. And let's open Solution Explorer and take a look at the source file. There are two versions of the main function in this file. One is the simple main, which would allow us to have a console background, and another one which is declared in windows.h, a standard file that comes with Visual Studio. You can see that this has a list of parameters and specific signature. If you use this version of the main function, then there will be no console in the background. So let's just compile the current version and try running it. I adjusted position of this window, and you can see that this window is our first graphical user interface window using Fulltext library, and there is no console background in this version of this application. Let's switch to the traditional version of main right here and simply comment out the signature of WinMain. So now we have main, build, and again try running it. You see that this now opens the same window, but also a console window is present on our screen as well. So I would actually prefer to keep the console window version, because this will allow us to print debug messages, do some tracing through the code in order to be able to debug certain parts of our code. So I suggest that we stick with this, but if you don't like the console window, just remember you can always bring back WinMain in the main file of our application, and it will make the console disappear. I also would like to show you where the result of our build is going when we execute the build. So this is the structure of all the folders that we have, and there's labs, and this is our current project. The actual build is placed under bin, and we have two versions here, debug and release. Currently we were building a debug version of our project, and here you can see that this is actually the executable that we're building and running. Now if I try to arrange this to make it all visible, if I try to say clean solution, you see that these files just disappeared from here, and if I build them again, they will appear. I can also switch to release configuration of Win32 project and rebuild, and you should see that now the files are running here. And of course, if we double click on this file, this starts the application in the release build mode. So obviously when working on commercial software, you should be testing both release and debug builds, and you would typically deploy the release version of your software to your clients. Normally, when I'm testing my release and debug builds between the switches between the two, I typically go and clean the files. You can see that the files are now gone, and then switch to the version of the build that I prefer. I would like to bring back our Solution Explorer view and tell you, when you execute the build, each source file that you have on the list of the source files will be translated by the compiler into the object file, obj, and then in the second part of the build, the object files together with some library files that we have in our project are put together, and they produce the final executable file. So object and lib files are linked together to produce the executable. Our project is configured to use library files under external subdirectory, and these are the files, the lib files that we are using as part of our project when we're building it. And the linker is able to find all necessary components for our graphical user interface by finding information in those lib files.